Go look in a mirror right now. The face staring back at you looks completely modern, but hidden inside every cell is evidence that other kinds of humans never fully disappeared. You still carry DNA from Neanderthals, Denisovans, and possibly other human groups with no bones, no faces, and no names, genetic ghosts hidden inside people alive today. And that is only one anomaly that should not exist. Children crossed North America earlier than many scientists believed. Someone built with wood before Homo sapiens clearly appeared. Someone may have painted the first surviving visual story, and a small-brained human relative may have carried its dead into darkness. None of this fits the timeline, but maybe the discoveries are not the problem. Maybe the timeline is. Today, White Sands is a desert, but more than 20,000 years ago, a lake covered the basin while Ice Age animals crossed the mud. Humans were walking there too. Researchers found thousands of fossilized tracks, many left by children. Layers around them were dated to roughly 21,000 to 23,000 years old. That placed humans there during the last glacial maximum. Critics questioned the dates because aquatic plants can absorb old carbon and appear too ancient. Maybe the footprints were younger, and the seeds were wrong. So scientists tested pollen, quartz grains, and more samples. Different methods gave the same uncomfortable result. People were walking through New Mexico more than 20,000 years ago. Then, in 2025, the site became stranger. Besides some footprints, researchers found grooves that may have come from a travois, wooden poles loaded with supplies, or possibly a child and dragged behind a person. No wheel and no axle, only wood scraping against the ground. If they are right, this may be one of the earliest transport devices. The wood disappeared, the rope disappeared, only the scrape marks survived. Stone survives, almost everything else rots. Which brings us to Kalambo Falls. In Zambia, archaeologists found two wooden logs in waterlogged ground. One had a deep notch and another lay across it. Someone shaped both pieces and joined them together. The structure was dated to at least 476,000 years ago. It may have been a platform, a walkway, or something unknown, but it was built around 160,000 years before the oldest accepted Homo sapiens fossils. Whoever made it may not have belonged to our species. The builder had to imagine it first, then cut the wood and make the pieces fit. They did it without metal, a saw, or written measurements. We call this period the Stone Age, but that name may only describe what survived. For every stone tool, there may have been wooden shelters, baskets, and traps. Kalambo Falls may not preserve the first structure, only one of the rare times the wood refused to disappear. But some ancient humans left something behind another way. They painted it onto stone. Inside a cave on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi is a faded pig surrounded by small human-like figures. Parts are gone, but the figures seem to interact with the animal and may form a story. Mineral deposits above it were dated to at least 51,200 years old. That made it the oldest securely dated example of visual storytelling known when announced. But this is where the debate begins. Are the figures truly interacting? Was the scene painted at the same time? Is it a hunt, a ritual, or a myth? Or are modern people connecting damaged shapes into a story that was never intended? Scientists can measure the age, but not what the artist meant. Even the possibility matters because it suggests someone understood that an event could be placed onto a wall. Then, in 2026, it moved again. Researchers announced another Indonesian cave image, a hand stencil at least 67,800 years old. Someone pressed a hand against the wall and blew pigment around it. The fingertips appear pointed almost like claws. A hand stencil is not necessarily a story, but it suggests image making was already ancient when the pig scene was painted. The person is gone, but the shape around their fingers preserves someone we will never meet. The next anomaly was also found inside a cave, but this time what survived was the dead. Deep inside South Africa's Rising Star cave system, researchers found the remains of Homo naledi. This human relative had capable hands but a brain far smaller than ours. The bones belonged to several individuals far beyond the entrance, so one team proposed an extraordinary explanation. Homo naledi may have carried its dead into the cave, placed them into the ground, and covered them. If that happened, it may have been a form of burial. A small-brained human relative would have been deliberately treating its dead. That would challenge old assumptions about intelligence. The evidence is fiercely debated. Critics argue that cave floors collapse, water shifts remains, and sediment moves. A depression containing bones is not automatically a grave. The study was revised and published, but experts still disagree. Researchers also reported wall markings, though they are not securely dated or connected to Homo naledi. If the researchers are right, this species buried its dead and possibly marked the walls. If the critics are right, natural cave processes and uncertain scratches are being turned into a story the evidence cannot prove. The same cave and bones, but two completely different pasts. The final anomaly is not trapped underground. Part of it is alive inside you. When Homo sapiens spread across Eurasia, they encountered Neanderthals. They did not only fight or replace them, they had children together. Most people with ancestry outside Africa still carry around 2% Neanderthal DNA. Then there were the Denisovans. We know them from only a few bones and teeth, yet their DNA survives across Asia and Oceania. Research suggests humans mixed with several Denisovan groups, but it gets stranger. Some parts of modern human DNA appear so old and unusual that researchers have proposed unknown archaic ancestors. These would be human groups with no confirmed fossils or scientific names, known only through modern genomes. One recent model suggested our ancestors split around 1.5 million years ago, then mixed again roughly 300,000 years ago. If correct, a major part of our ancestry may come from that ancient reunion. But geneticists warn that models can mistake population structure for interbreeding with an unknown species. The DNA may have come from another lost group, or part of the signal may be an illusion. Bones can disappear and models can disagree, but the genetic signal remains. Human evolution was not a ladder. It was a crowded world filled with different humans who separated, traveled, met again, shared genes, and eventually disappeared into one another. Now look at your hand again. The people at White Sands used hands like yours. The builder at Kalambo shaped wood before our species clearly appeared. Someone in Indonesia pressed a hand against a cave wall nearly 68,000 years ago. Homo naledi may have used its hands to carry the dead into darkness. And inside the cells of your own hand is evidence that different kinds of humans did not remain separate. These discoveries should not exist in the simple version of history. The footprints appeared too early. Technology belonged to the wrong species. Art became older. Small brains may have produced complex behavior, and extinct humans refused to disappear. But archaeology does not reveal the exact moment something began. It reveals the oldest example that survived. That is not the same thing. The first structure was probably not the Kalambo logs. The first artwork was probably not the Sulawesi hand. And the first humans in North America may not have been the people at White Sands. They are simply the earliest ones we managed to find. So maybe these anomalies do not break the human timeline. Maybe they reveal what it has always been.